Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
Elijah Mitchell, he's been one of the most, I don't want to say polarizing, but with all the injuries that's happened in only his 3-year career, he's going into year 4. Probably in the offseason, I get so many like, oh, let's trade or cut or move on from. But people forget what he was able to accomplish his rookie year. He stepped in through a lot of injuries, other players getting injured, and kind of seized the day. And he's one of the Shanahan loyalty program members. Like this guy, Kyle Shanahan loves him. Kyle Shanahan trusts him and is fine taking Christian McCaffrey off the field at times for small stints, but still giving the ball to Elijah Mitchell in very important situations. I mean, you can even look in the postseason. And on top of that, like he was drafted late. This is, somebody that was drafted in the 6th round that doesn't cost against the salary cap. He's basically a free player against the salary cap still on his rookie deal entering the last year. Like he's not a cut candidate. Yeah, I always get like, oh, you traded for Isaac Garendo or you traded for Ty Davis Price or Trey Sermon or whatever. Like, yeah, it's probably Elijah Mitchell's last year. No, it's not. Now, this year probably is Elijah Mitchell's last year because it's the last year of his rookie deal. And his only chance to really get paid a significant payday will be after this year, probably with another team. But that does not mean the impact for the 2024 49ers season. They're going to rely on Elijah Mitchell. He's going to be the number 2 back. No matter how much I want Jordan Mason to be that guy, averaged over a yard per carry more in back-to-back years, Elijah Mitchell's still a beast. And Kyle Shanahan trusts him. And I don't think that's going to change for a rookie that they drafted in the 4th round. That's not happening. It's Christian McCaffrey, giant gap, Elijah Mitchell, giant gap, everybody else. And so that's why he comes in number 34 on our roster countdown list this year. Now, shout out to Josh, the executive producer of today's show. Now, if we look at, we've had Elijah Mitchell around for a while. Our first year was 2022 after his rookie year. He was going to be the starting running back. We had him at 20th. That's the high point. Last year we had him 23. Now he's at 34. He's a high-end player that's not going to get a lot of reps, but can his reps, his touches matter like they have continued to do so? And can he finally stay healthy? Contract year, you got to prove to other teams he's going to get paid. Probably going to get like a $4 million deal for some other team next year, which is more than he's made his entire 4 years with the 49ers. But like I could see him signing like a 1-year, $4 million deal to be part of a running back committee in Washington or whatever. That's what's on stage for him. If he can stay healthy, if he can prove, man, dude, you can play more than 12 games in a season, he's going to get paid. And I love betting on players in contract years because I love seeing people get paid. So Elijah Mitchell, I hope that it pans out. Now, let's go through his background and kind of what he's accomplished in his 3 years in the NFL. Where's jersey number 25? Love that. 5'10", 200 pounds, 26 years old. So he's not old by any stretch of the imagination, but in running back years, yeah, that's long in the tooth. Now, his compound workout was incredible. I can't believe he lasted to the 6th round. He ran a 4.35 40. That's top 97 percentile of running backs. 1.51 10-yard split. That's 86 percentile running backs. 6.93 cone. 37.5-inch vertical. 83 percentile for all running backs. Broad jump 10.8. That's 94%. 17 bench press reps. Like this dude tested off the charts. You put in his measurables on mockdraftable.com. Listen to these comps. Travis Etienne, 73%. Breece Hall, 72%. Bijan Robinson, 72%. Jalen Wright, 70. Like, he is an athlete, ladies and gentlemen. And he plays that way. He plays tough. He plays big. He plays really, really big for a 5'10", 200-pound back. And we'll play a clip later of Kyle Shanahan talking about how, yeah, he plays big. Here, we'll go to it now. Because you look at the measurables and you're like, wow, this dude's explosive. Then you watch the tape and you're like, wow, this is a big style bruising back. So here's Shanahan breaking down the play style of Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah's such an efficient runner. I mean, he doesn't mess around at all. I mean, he's going downhill. He creates edges on people, and he's trying to go through people every play, which is why we like him so much. When you do that and you're committed to that, sometimes you do leave some yards out there where you could have a little bit of a bigger play. But that's, I think, also why he has such a good yards per carry. But when you go out and you evaluate everything and you watch all the runs that you had, when you get a bunch of them, you do see places you can improve. And he had a couple big runs that could have been bigger. And I think that's what his goal is. You know, he has the 40 to do it. But he runs like he's a 230-pound big back, which is what makes him such a good runner. So it's trying not to lose what has got him here, and then just add other elements to his game that his body's capable of doing.
Don't lose what got you here. The vertical running style, the tough running style. Yeah, his vision's not great, and you see him kind of bounce off and ping pong off, pinball off his own blockers sometimes. Like, it's rough too, because you see Christian McCaffrey, who might have the greatest vision of any running back the past decade, and then you go to Elijah Mitchell, vision's not his strong suit. You see just how much of a difference that is. But I can tell you this, Elijah Mitchell's faster than Christian McCaffrey. Elijah Mitchell runs way more physically imposing than Christian McCaffrey. Is he better than Christian McCaffrey? No, not probably at almost anything, but there are some traits that he has that are superior. Should Elijah Mitchell be a starting running back in the NFL? I think he's probably in that like 31 to 40 range of running backs. Like if you had to rank all the running backs in the NFL, I mean, shoot, Ezekiel Elliott is starting in today's NFL. He's way better than him. He's better than like the Raiders, right? Who they got, Zonovan Knight or whatever. Yeah, I'm putting Elijah Mitchell ahead of those guys, and I think he'll be in competition for his next job. Probably, I doubt the Niners keep him with cheap options like Jordan Mason, who is basically Elijah Mitchell but bigger. And trading up for Isaac Guerendo. Like, I think that's kind of the way they're going to move, especially paying Christian McCaffrey even more. Now, his journey to the NFL is a fun one. He's from Erath High School, the Bobcats, baby. General studies major. He's a 2-star recruit, went to Louisiana, and he's from southern Louisiana. Country. And, his high school coach talked about how he was the type of guy that would show up to the weight room in boots. Like work boots and farm boots. Like, that's just kind of who he was. We had the pleasure. We had Elijah Mitchell to our draft party back in, I think it was 2021, right after his rookie year, and he was awesome. A lot of fun being around. He was great with my kids. It just had such a cool personality, I mean, you could just tell he was a cool dude and was very thankful to be there, and he loved the fans and all this. Like, it was just cool. He's a great guy. You look at the accolades that he got. He was, first team all Sun Belt, first team all Louisiana growing up, all these different whatever. He had a career average of 9 yards per carry and a touchdown every 9 carries in high school. Like, the dude just dominated. He's got 4 brothers. Got pushed into a starting role his rookie year because of all the injuries, but then he got hurt. Then you get Christian McCaffrey, the trade happens, and you got this 1-2 punch, but then he still keeps getting hurt as the number 2 changeup guy. And the health has been an issue for a long time. All the way back in high school, health was an issue, and that's part of the reason why he went to Louisiana, and it's part of the reason why he got drafted in the 6th round, and it's part of the reason why he's not a guaranteed starter in today's NFL. The tape says he can be. He can be. He's never fumbled. He doesn't have negative plays. His only negative is that he gets more 7-yard gains than 15-yard gains, if that makes sense. Like, he leaves a little bit of icing on the cake whenever he gets to that second level, but that's the negative on him. His catch rate, I think, was 88th percentile. He's not known as a receiving back, but, that his rookie year, he went out there and had 19 of 20 catches, on 20 targets. So you're not losing in the receiving game. He's just a little tight-hipped, but he's got good hands. Now, here's the thing, okay? This is probably his last year with the Niners. Probably last year. And I'm not saying that like, yay, I'm glad we're whatever. It's just the contract's expiring. The value that he brings through the salary cap and the rookie deal, that's off the table after this year. Now, if he can stay healthy, he'll get paid. But even more importantly, and what we're here for, if he stays healthy, he could legitimately help the 49ers. I mean, 70.1 overall grade, good. 71.7 rushing, good. 52.4 receiving, 18 forced missed tackles. This dude is creating on his own above what the line is giving him, and he's never fumbled. The negatives just aren't there, and that's you want to piss off a coach, and I've been guilty of this on both sides. Man, you fumble that ball, your coach is they're going to curse your grandparents. And so to not have those negatives, you remember Matt Breida and how much Shanahan loved him. Then he fumbled 3 times in 2 games. It was like, you'll never play for me again. Jeff Wilson Jr., he fumbled. Guess what? We're trading you. It's with Elijah Mitchell, you don't have that. Now, 161 snaps last year. Not many. And that's playing a full game with Christian McCaffrey out in Week 17. Only 80 offensive snaps, the year before. So here's his numbers last year. 75 attempts, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 receptions, 14 yards. Now, man, you look at okay, let's go through his rookie year, sophomore year compared to last year. Drafted 6th round, 10th pick. You drafted behind Trey Sermon. They trade up for Trey Sermon. He beat him out. Next year they draft Ty Davis-Price, beats him out. Now they trade up for Isaac Guerrero. I don't really think there's competition for this year there, but, whatever. His rookie year, 963 rush yards, almost hit 1,000. 5 rushing touchdowns, 19 receptions. Then his sophomore year, 2022, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not good. Basically, copy and pasted that because he goes 2022 from 279 and 2 touchdowns to 2023, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's like the same thing. But he can provide so much more than that. He just can't stay on the damn field. He's missed 20-plus games in 3 years. 20-plus. So one full season, and the Niners always play 20 games because they're in the NFC Championship or better, or they get the bye week and then they go to the Super Bowl. That dude's missed 1/3 of the time in 3 short years. You can't have that. Best ability, availability. Now, here's the question. Why is he always hurt? I always struggle with injury prone. That term pisses me off. People break their arm and then they'll have a torn ACL or something, right? And I'll get all these comments, the player's injury prone. And I'm like, yeah, but are you injury prone if you're making a tackle and somebody puts their helmet on your forearm and it snaps in half? What's he supposed to do? Drink more milk? 20 years ago? Injuries happen in football. 100% injury rate. So why is he always hurt? Well, Kyle Shanahan tried to answer that, and it's a journey that he goes on, but I think there's a lot of truth to it because I do think that injury prone is a thing. I'm not quite sure some of the injuries for Elijah Mitchell fall under that category, however, and I think Kyle agrees.
No, we're trying to work everything with him. Elijah's extremely good back, and he's had some unfortunate things with injuries. He is a very physical runner, but you don't strain your abductor because you're running physically. So there's, I think all of our runners are pretty physical. Sometimes that can happen, but, his bad injury last year, he had his foot in the ground and someone hit his knee. I think it was his MCL. So you can't change your style. That's also what makes him great. I don't always think that's what's getting him hurt either. But he has had some muscle strains and stuff, and I think he got hurt on the exact same day last year in camp. It'll probably help him to be out here about a week and a half, most likely. But Elijah does everything right. He's been unfortunate with it. So hopefully we can find the secret remedy as well.
Yeah, they didn't find it last year. Yeah, that was before training camp. That was during training camp last year. Hopefully they find it this year. But listen to these injuries, okay? Concussion, all right, that's NFL. The knee MCL he talked about. Hamstring, all right. Now that falls. Hamstring injuries piss me off more than anything as a coach because if you are hydrated and you're warmed up and stretched properly, the hamstring should be fine. Should be. There's a reason, that's a soft tissue injury. You get more than one of those, it's a red flag. Finger, this is somebody that's pulled his hamstring several times, my fat self, but I'm not a pro athlete. Finger injury, all right. Somebody's helmet, whatever. You're a running back, you got to carry the ball. Shoulder, that's running too physical. And then last year, knee injury. So try to find a common theme through all those. It's almost impossible. Some of it's just football. Some of it's bad luck. But soft tissue injuries, those, I'm not saying they're always on the player, but when they keep happening that many in 3 years, yikes. That's huge. Now, I talked earlier about how he's basically a salary cap free player. He had a 4-year, $3.6 million deal, which is slotted to a 6th-round pick. He's making less than $1 million a year. He's made $2.3 million in the 3 years he's been with the Niners. This year, again, it costs nothing. Costs nothing to keep him on your 53-man roster. Doesn't count against the 51 subcap. That's not there. Now, he's played in 112 games. That number's off. Sorry about that. Carry over from the last player. He's played 27 games in his career. He's missed 20. That's an issue. Now, you look at the running back depth chart, right? Christian McCaffrey, lock. Elijah Mitchell's lock. Kyle Juszczyk's a lock because he redid his deal. You traded up for Isaac Guerendo, lock. Jordan Mason's going to be Elijah Mitchell 2.0 next year. Those guys are all locks. There's no room unless there's an injury. Then you got undrafted Cody Schrader, and you got vet backup Patrick Taylor. This running back room is set. You're set down to practice squad, and if there's an injury, maybe Cody Schrader gets bumped up or Patrick Taylor, whatever. They are set. And the way that they've staggered, now this is looking ahead, last year for Elijah Mitchell, 2024. Last year for Jordan Mason, 2025. Then you got Isaac Guerendo stepping in there. The constant is CMC and Kyle Juszczyk. Kyle Juszczyk got 2 years left, but doesn't really affect any of this. Elijah Mitchell's going to be the guy, and I fully expect way more trade questions. You know, what happens if you get to the trade deadline and Isaac Guerendo has taken steps to earn some type of playtime or to at least compete with Jordan Mason or Elijah Mitchell? Well, then I think you do what you did with Jeff Wilson. Everybody wants Shanahan running backs. There's going to be injuries across the thing, and you could trade Elijah Mitchell at those points. It's hard to do that and balance whenever you're in a Super Bowl competitive year, and Kyle Shanahan trusts Elijah Mitchell so much. So I doubt that it happens, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. But one thing I tell you for certain, they are not trading Elijah Mitchell during training camp. They are not. Even if a team offered a 4th-round pick, which would be a steal, you got a 5th for Jeff Wilson somehow. I have no clue how that happened. And I like Jeff Wilson, but they massively overpaid. Even if somebody offered like a 4th-round pick for Elijah Mitchell, I doubt the Niners would take it because Shanahan says, man, I trust him. What if CMC gets hurt? What if? And Elijah Mitchell's proven he can play starter-level reps in this system. Is he CMC? Nobody is. But you can do something with this dude. So Elijah Mitchell, fun player and kind of a polarizing player, not because people don't like him. They don't like the injuries. But I hope he stays healthy this year. And I hope he gets more carries. Yeah, you know, you look at, again, last year, 75 attempts for 281 yards. I want Elijah Mitchell to get about 120 carries this year. I really do. Now, okay, that's 50 more carries. You're taking carries away from Christian McCaffrey? I am. I really am. I want Christian McCaffrey to get more receptions and targets, not fewer snaps, but fewer carries, if that makes sense. Especially in those fourth quarters when we're up by more than a score and we're trying to ice the game. That's what Elijah Mitchell's for. That is where you use your thumper. That is where you use your backup. And that is where I want those, snaps and carries to come from. Just use a little bit more. But if he stays healthy, he's obviously going to get more carries because he'll be involved more. But, yeah, I don't want CMC out there and wear and tear, ice the game away situations. That's Elijah Mitchell. That's J.P. Mason. So, Elijah Mitchell, keep doing your thing, man. I hope you stay healthy, and I hope you get paid big time. Help out that compensation pick formula for next year for the 49ers. But I think he's got more work to do for us, and that's going to take place this year in 2024, and that's why he's the number 34 player on our roster countdown this year.